And a nice track tonight, kind of a loose, muddy type of surface. But Mike Galloway, I think, for these four-wheel drive competitors, it should be a good surface to run on tonight.
I think it's going to be good for both classes, Ken Brew. It is soft. It's very, very soft. But you know what? It's got a lot of bite to it. It'll suck your shoes. It just, shoes kind of bite into it as you walk across of it. Here's Gone Bananas, and it's brand new. Nancy drives it.
Nancy Dion, her brother, or husband, I should say, Brian, got her interested. They met in 1980. He had been a puller himself, and Nancy and he hooked up in 1980. She got interested. She pulls inside, he pulls outside, and the truck is Gone Bananas.
It's a beautiful truck. It's a real short wheelbase truck, and you know, the horsepower and the cubic inch in comparison to some of the other vehicles is a little smaller than most of them here tonight, but the thing works real well. And it won't be working again for Nancy because right out of the hole she snapped the front axle. The front axle is just went away on her completely, and I think they broke an axle on it recently, and I believe they broke another axle just now when she hooked on it. It's the kind of track we're looking at where it's got a lot of bite in it. It doesn't look that way. A lot of people are going to come on the vehicles too hard at the starting line. We may see a lot of damage tonight, but I think when we look at this in a replay, that we'll see what happened, that the front end will snap on it right out of the hole. So let's watch her. Watch the front tires. When she takes off with it, they'll spin and hook just a little while. If she gets a good bite, here they come out. They're getting a hold of it. Now they start to spin right there. See her whip it to the right and left, and right there is where they snap the front end. You see the tire just quit, and it's over with for her for the whole evening.
Well, Gone Bananas dies on the vine tonight. Nancy Dion from Danielson, Connecticut, will not go home with the big prize. Well, here is lady number 2 on the evening. This is Paula Ewan from Oklahoma City in the 86 Chevy S10 Black Gold with the big old 628 RODECK engine. You know, Paula and Kenneth Ewan are one of the great husband and wife pulling teams on this circuit, but there is a third party. David Collins is their chief mechanic. And lo and behold, here is David down at trackside with our very own Mike Galloway. Mike?
Thanks, Ken. I'm with David Collins, and David Collins is the chief mechanic for the Ewan pulling team. And Dave, what does it involve, say, on a Saturday at a pull? What do you do?
Well, I've got 3 trucks that I have to go over from end to end, Mike. Start at one end and don't stop until you get to the other end.
Major points that you hit on the truck.
You run the overhead, you check the valves, see if you've got any bent push rods, check the plugs, make sure they're, burnt plugs. You check the clutch, transmission. Every once in a while you have to get in the transfer case, rear end, front end, but most generally not.
David, what about oil in one of these? How often do you have to change the oil in one of them?
We change it every day. Sometimes we'll change it. If we have to make like 3 runs, we'll change it between the second and third run for coolant.
Now, to keep the engine cool, you do it by oil because you carry no water inside the motor.
Alcohol cools the top, 3 gallons of oil cools the bottom end.
David, we talk from time to time about making a gear change in these vehicles. How difficult is it to change the gears?
Well, it's really not very difficult. It takes us about 4 minutes to change gears if we're in a hurry.
Pull the top off the transmission?
Pull the back off of it. Pull a reverser off of it. And it has front set and a mid set and a reverser, and we change the middle set. You can change either set, but the mid set's the easiest one to change.
Well, David Collins has got a busy day when it comes pull time.
The Oklahoman Black Gold.
Watch the big motor come to life. She's got a good track to hook on. Could make it. Look out.
She'd like to drive it halfway to Cape Cod.
Oh, beautiful job. And that's no doubt a full pull in anyone's book.
Beautiful pull for Paula Ewan.
There's David. Giving her a little word of encouragement, telling her to back up a little bit. David, by the way, is Paula's brother.
So it's all in the family, isn't it?
All in the family.
Wonder how David, the brother-in-law, gets along with Ken, the brother-in-law. Probably pretty well.
Absolutely fabulous.
All right.
Not a problem.
Three powerful superstars. Connecticut, and that is the Wild Child. Brand new engine for Mr. Perotti. And I asked him how he got the name for the truck. He said when he was 13 years old, he had his own CB, and his handle was
Wild Child.
You got that right, Jack. And now it's on the side of his truck, and he's here looking for some points and some money tonight. Nice shot of the wheels there, and there's the engine that, as we mentioned, is brand new.
Runs the new trick Pontiac, aluminum Pontiac heads on. They're flowing a lot better than some of the other heads that are out right now, and they are trick set up. He's got a new injection system, as you can see, peeking out through the hood of this 1953 Chevrolet. And it's a good-looking truck.
That's a classic, I would say. 53 Chevy, you're talking 35, 36 years ago. I would call it a classic, wouldn't you?
I would definitely call it a classic.
All right. Well, he's hooked in and waiting for the green flag at the other end. Again, a nice paint job, kind of a dark plum.
Rob's in a rebuilding period right now as he just converted to a flip-top body on the truck, and he's doing a little changing work on the frame. He's also doing different work on it. You're going to see new paint on the truck, I would venture to say, within the next few months. And he changed the motor around, changed the setup on the truck, and let's see if it helps him all tonight.
He's got the green flag, and here he goes. Mike, good ground speed.
Well, it was a very good pull for Rob. I thought he did a super job with it. The sled's sinking in a little more as the evening goes along. I think you'll see it do that all evening long. Rob probably might have missed a gear a little bit. He might have liked to have that one over again to have a little gear change in it. But it was a good job in his part.
Well, tonight, the wild child has disciplined the track to the tune of a full pull. Rob Perotti. Well, here is Arnold Coburn. You know, in Canada, truck pulling's almost as popular as what it is in the States. Arnold hails from Toronto, Canada. Mike Gallaway, who hails from Oklahoma City, is down trackside with Arnold Coburn. Fellas?
I'm with Arnold Coburn from Canada. And Arnold, how's the competition in compared to the States to Canada competition?
Well, the competition is getting good up in Canada in the last couple of years. Guys are starting to come around, and there's more pulling in the two-wheel class and the four-wheelers, and I think give it another couple of years, we're going to be quite competitive compared to the American boys.
Well, now, you've been coming to the States for quite a few years to run trucks.
Well, I got this truck now that I have. I built it in 1981, and at that time the two-wheel class came in, and all the guys that had four-wheelers cut them up and made them into two-wheelers. So I said, well, I spent a lot of money on this, and the only place I had to go was come down to the States. So I ran down here up until 2 years ago, pretty well summer and winter.
Well, now, you run a big injected Chevrolet motor.
That's right. I have a 568 bow tie block. It's a Chev block, fuel injected.
Arnold's always successful in the United States. Let's see if he's going to be successful tonight with the Canadian Warrior.
Well, here he is, the Canadian Warrior, waiting for the green flag and trying to wow him down in the States.
He can do it. Looks good.
Oh, hold the back bacon. The Canadian Warrior might have made something here tonight. Arnold Coburn just missing a chance at the pull-off. 148 feet and 10 inches. A nice pull tonight for the young man from Toronto, Canada. And who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? Only the shadow. Yes, only the shadow. With Mike Slater from Grand Blanc, Michigan at the wheel of the 89 Chevy with the 572 coming right through the hood.
Mike Slater, I would say, has every chance in the world of putting one out. He's running on the left-hand side of the track. I think it's the place to be. He does it.
Oh, man. What a pull tonight for Mike Slater.
Went to the left-hand side of the track, Ken Brew. There has not been anyone over there. We know the track's good all over. Mike dialed in on that left-hand side and just zinged it right out the door.
It's called going to school. He went to school on the other drivers. He saw no one had been stage left, and he said, that's where I'm going. And he lined up that way and used it. He used the track to its fullest.
Watch him ease into this thing right out of the hole and then nail the throttle. Comes into it, and he's actually on a Sunday drive. The traction is like we saw for PAULA Ewan, the first hook of the night. Excellent, because no one has been over there, and he just eases it out right there, backs out of the throttle, lets everything settle down, and he'll be back in the pull-off. What a great run for the Shadow out of Grand Blanc, Michigan.
The Tasmanian Devil will skip a turn right now as they work on apparently, what's that, the wheel, Mike? Is that what
left front axle, Kim Brew. That's the way you get into the left front axle on these. And he probably sheared one of the teeth off inside there. Could be a number of things, but they're going to try to get into it and try to get it fixed so they can run tonight.
Well, we'll come back to the Tasmanian Devil, but right now, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains, here is Oklahoman Ken Ewan from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The 86 Chevy with the 628 RODECK, another engine made in Norman.
Watch the truck. Paula's out. You know, Ken's got to have the horsepower. He's got basically the same motor. A little bit different driving style, quite a bit different driving style. Let's see if Ken can put it together. He's going to run the right-hand side of the track, I think. Oh, he's got speed. He's got the power. He's out of here.
Yeah! Out the door and halfway to Boston. The Oklahoman.
I saw that truck make never seen that truck make a pass like that, Ken Brew. Seen it make almost every pass it's ever made. But that one is one of the first because the truck squatted in the back, looked like it tried to pick the front end up, and then took the sled for the ride of a lifetime.
Well, let's look at it again and tell me, what do you mean it kind of squatted to the back? How is that different?
What's the front end pick up on?
Yeah, but I mean, what is he doing to make that happen? Just gear?
I think it's just the traction coming off the back tires. See, the tires are kind of pulled in together, and that's the way they set them. Throws the dirt away from the sled. The butterflies are wide open. The flags are flying in the air, and Ken, he has got a beautiful pass going for him as he just takes it right out the gate. It's a good pull. He's done a great job, but still we have not seen anyone go out with the ease that we saw Paula go out with earlier.
Well, it might be husband and wife against each other in the pull-off. Paula Ewan and Ken Ewan, both with full pulls and both in the pull-off. A great pull tonight for Ken Ewan and the Oklahoman. Meanwhile, zapped from heaven, the Tasmanian Devil apparently is out of the competition tonight. Mike Galloway pretty much figured out that they have an axle problem. It will keep the Tasmanian Devil from competing tonight. So going home unfulfilled, to say the least, is Todd Spasotto from Ashaway, Rhode Island. The Tasmanian Devil will not drive tonight. Well, here's a truck called Determination. Jim Knight, Hillsboro, New Hampshire, in an 89 Chevy. So we've got a brand new cab and a pretty good size engine coming through too.
Good shot of the sled and the lights on the sled when the red light is on.
They're being stopped.
The sled is not in operating position. Now that light will change to green when it does. It means the brakes have been released. The rider is ready to leave with the sled. That also tells the gentleman on the other end that he can give him the green, which has happened now. Let's see what he does. Does he call for the motor? And he does call. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Oh, man.
There's a man that went out and made it look so absolutely easy.
Yes, sir. The truck is called Determination, and boy, was Jim Knight ever. He has leaped into the pull-off with a full pull. Here's Jim. We'll have more modified truck pulling here from Worcester in just a moment. Ewan, the first tonight to go the full distance, will now be the first in the pull-off. And Mike, I think it's important to point out now that they will measure distance. There will be no full pulls at this point. They will measure distance, so the pull-off will give us a winner.
What we're going to see here tonight, Ken Brew, is the weight box coming up the ramp much quicker, transferring it from a rolling weight to a dragging weight. You're going to see that happen a lot earlier on the track. They're going to shut them down within the lengths of this track. It's going to be tough competition. I think you're going to have to get all you're going to get right out of the hole. I think you need to come as soon as you trip the throttle, as soon as you give it, you need to go wide open with it, try to get all the speed you can, try to get some momentum going your way. Let's see how Paula does it. She does it just like that.
Hey, that was all right.
That's a beautiful pull. The box topped out around the 100-foot mark, maybe 125, somewhere in that area. And then after that, Paula just actually drove it the distance. David checking the heat on it, getting a smile out of him. Finally, he likes the pull, and I don't blame him. I think it's going to be one to beat.
Might be a good idea to just step back and see who is in the pull-off along with Paula Ewan. Wild Child, Shadow, Oklahoman, Determination, all of these trucks, all 5 of them went the full pull distance tonight. And so now we will have kind of like a home run derby to decide who exactly will be the champion tonight in the 4-wheel drive modified competition. Good mark for Paula Ewan, 151 feet, 5 1/4 inches. Paula Ewan now has established the mark in the pull-off. The others have got to try and beat. Here's the Wild Child, and Mike, it looks like he's got some air out of those front tires. They seem a little bit lower than what we saw him the first time.
Well, it may be, Ken. He couldn't need it for the bite. It's down a little bit, not a whole lot. I think he's got a good combination. He'll be right up amongst them. Let's see how he goes. Oh, early. It's a good one.
Going to be real close. It was a nice pull, a pull that seemed to go in stages, slow off the start, and then some real nice action as he got about 30 feet down the track, and then he, of course, when that box topped out, seemed to lose a little power. But nice driving tonight for Rob Perotti and the Wild Child.
Well, it was excellent all the way around. Rob did a great job with it.
Well, the Wild Child spanked the track 143 feet and 10 inches for Rob Perotti tonight. Back comes the Shadow from out of the nostalgic years of radio on to the pulling track tonight in Worcester, Massachusetts. The Shadow and Mike Slater will try to catch Paula Ewan, and he did a nice job his first time down the track tonight.
I think he's got the capability. I think he's got the motor. He's sure got the driving style, and he has gone back to the left-hand side of the track. It put him in the pull-off. It could put him in the winner's circle. Let's watch him and see if it works tonight. 151.5 and a little bit is what he has to beat. He's gonna do it. I really think so. Let's watch him. Uh-oh, problems on the left bank. He may have leaned it out a little bit. That is very close.
It is very close, but there was a problem, Mike, that you mentioned.
I think what we saw there, Ken Brew, was he leaned out one of the cylinders on the left bank, and when that happened, burns the tip off of the spark plug and blows the raw fuel out of the exhaust pipe, and that's where we saw it come down the track.
In the pull-off, the Shadow jumps into second place right now with a pull of 149 feet and a quarter of an inch. Mike Slater in second place right now, but stand by for this man, Kenneth Ewan, who has to catch his wife. It could be all in the family. Paul has got the lead. Kenneth now with a chance to catch her.
It can happen. We're going to see if he can. I think this may be Kenneth's night. Paula had the picture-perfect pull.
Oh, man.
Kenneth, I mean, they're all sitting right there in the same track. But he is doing a great job.
I watched the end of that pull, and his tire speed was so great, his traction so intense, he dug the track up and threw it behind him about 40 or 50 feet.
Well, he had a lot of ground speed. It was a beautiful pass all the way around. And here again, that truck picking that front end up. And, you know, I think that's something they've changed in the suspension on that truck over the past few weeks.
There's Paula.
Paula in the background.
Well, there's our new leader, Ken Ewan. 152 feet and 4 inches in the pull-off. He moves to the front. And there is Kenneth. He has to be very happy. I would think that his wife, Paula, would be happy, too. There's Paula standing with Bill Romsberg, the race burner fame. Paula has to be happy, too, because even though Kenneth knocked her out of the lead, that prize money's going to Oklahoma right now.
Right now, it's headed that direction. But there's a person right here with some determination to keep it somewhere else.
Mike, I thought of all the four-wheel drive competitors in the regular phase, determination seemed to have the best run. Now, the question becomes, can Jim Knight duplicate it here in the pull-off?
Well, 152 feet 4 inches is going to be a heck of a pass for him.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. He's waiting for the green flag. We told you the first time he was from Hillsboro, New Hampshire, and here comes determination. Determined, but unfulfilled.
Going to be on the short side of the street.
There's the congratulatory handshake.
Mike Slater, who was in that pull-off.
Yep.
Saying congratulations. Now you're seeing a big smile on Kenneth's face, and he's the kind of guy that he'll never say that he won one until the last puller has hooked.
27 years
Mike
old.
Slater in the Shadow finishing third. And then Black Gold with Paula Ewan behind the wheel finishing second. And the winner, Ken Ewan and the Oklahoman. And the guy who couldn't lose on this deal is the chief mechanic for the Ewans, David Collins. We talked to him earlier. Here he is now. You couldn't lose tonight, could you, David?
No, I really couldn't. It made, all day long today worthwhile.
Kenneth, what did you do tonight, Dave, to prepare the trucks after the competition got going?
Well, we changed gears in both trucks after the competition got going, and hers twice and his once.
Take more horsepower tonight than you'd had expected?
Yeah, I really didn't think the track was near as good as it was, but it just kept eating up horsepower.
But all in all, the track ended up in real good shape tonight, didn't it?
Oh, I loved it.
No doubt about that.
Will Paula appreciate what happened to Kenneth tonight, even though she didn't win? I think that she's got to take a lot of satisfaction in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, as long as we can keep two trucks within a foot of each other, it really doesn't make a lot of difference which one comes in first or second, as long as that's the way they come in.
Plus, it'll give her plenty of incentive to go out next week and try to put hers a foot ahead of his, right?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't ever give up. In fact, neither one of them gives up.
Thank you very much, David. Once again, congratulations. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.